This is Brandon Moon with Leland Fly Fishing. I want to welcome you tonight to Fly Tying Night, where we're going to be tying up a variation of a Prince Nymph. This one's all blacked out except for a little bit of red accents and hot spots. Okay. This is going to be tied using some synthetic materials versus peacock herl. I think you're going to like. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with that. And while we're doing that, I want to invite you to make sure and like your favorite videos, drop us a comment, say hi, or ask us a question. We want to interact with you and help provide good quality content for you. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications of future videos. For this pattern, we're going to be tying it on a Moonlit Tagata ML 501 in a size 14. That's our favorite size. These ones are made in Japan and it's a forged jig, wide gape. It's our favorite jig hook. For the bead, we're going to put a 3.0 millimeter slotted tungsten in black from Moonlit. That 3 millimeter pairs perfectly for this size hook. Okay, for our thread, we're using 12/0 Semperfli Classic Wax thread in the floral red. We've got that on a Stonefo Elite disc drag bobbin. Okay, this is going to give us great control and great tension control and thread control as we're wrapping this. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a few wraps behind the bead. Then I'm going to work rearward to the back of the hook at the bend with my thread. I want nice close wraps. Okay, I'm going to get to the bend of the hook there. I'll snip that out. Now I'm just going to create a nice little bulge here, hot spot underneath that bend there to help flare out my legs, my biot legs here. Okay, so I'm just going to build that up with my thread. I could do it with dubbing, I just want to do it with the thread on this one. Okay, for the legs, I'm going to be, or the tail, I'm going to be using some black goose biots. Okay, so I've already pulled these out and there's a slight curvature to these. I want the curvature going away from the hook. I'm going to tie them in individually. That's the way I like to do it. I measure it out to be roughly the length of the hook shank. So I'm going to give that a good couple wraps to put it in. I can kind of maneuver where that's at and how that stays until I lock it in by going in between the biot and the hook. Now I'm going to take another goose biot, and again I want the curvature to go away from the hook point or the hook shank. Measure that out. Same thing. The other thing that happens when I go in between the biot and the hook shank is I secure that in, so when I wrap in my second biot, I'm not having that loose go thread, or the thread go loose up against the hook shank and pull out my other biot out of place. So I'm just going to finish securing those in. This one's, there we go. So I'll get those secured in almost all the way up there to the bead. Now I'm going to take some red tying wire from Semperfli, just a 0.2 millimeter red, I'm just going to take a strip of wire. I'm going to put it up on top of the bead, push it up into that bead. Now I've got that secured in. I'll use that to create a good underbody going rearward again. I want to make sure I wrap this all the way back to that tie-in point with my tail. Okay. For the body on this, I'm using Semperfli's quill body or peacock quill body substitute. This substitutes the herl, not the peacock quill, for like a quill bodied fly. I'll just take and secure that in at that tie-in point. Wrap that forward. I'll trim this out. I'll just wrap that forward almost up into that bead. Not quite, but close. Half hitch that so I can use my rotary feature with this quill body, or the peacock body here. This is a more durable body material than peacock herl. And I'm just going to wrap this forward. You can see I clipped that hook point already. If I'd have had regular peacock herl, I'd have been starting all over again. So this is really nice to be able to do that. Comes in a black and a green in a small, medium, and large. So I'm just going to wrap that up there close to that bead. I'm going to leave me a little bit of leeway. Now I'm going to secure that in. 2 wraps behind it. Now I'm just going to wrap over the top of it. I will half hitch here. Okay. Set that thread out of the way. I'm going to kind of set that as far out of the way as I can. Now I'm going to do some wraps on this body, just like on a regular Prince Nymph. Now I'm going to take and helicopter this. You can see I'm up in that thorax area anyways. Now I'm going to take this peacock substitute and I'm just going to create a little bit of a bulge here. Okay, and that is going to be used as I tie in my legs on this with my biots. So now I'm going to invert this because it's on a jig hook and I want these legs on the top side of this fly. So I'm going to measure this out. I want it to go roughly to the back of that hook point, or the bend there. A loose wrap. Tight wrap. Now I want to go in between the biot and the hook point again. Okay. Now I'm going to do that on the other side. So I'll measure this out again. Now I'm tying this on the side of this hook, not on the very top like you would a traditional Prince Nymph. I want these just on the side. Okay, and again I secure that in. Then I go behind to lock it in and take my scissors and I'll trim these out. I think this gives me a better, a cleaner fly. Doing it this way. Okay, I'll half hitch that again, set it off to the side. Now I'm going to take that peacock quill substitute, and I'm just going to build a little bulge of thorax where to help with my soft hackle I'm going to be tying in. That also makes those legs protrude out of the side of the body. So I secured that in. Take and trim that off. Okay. Now I'm going to take some whiting hen saddle. Okay, this is the Red Label hen saddle black, and I've already got a piece of that. So I pulled a piece out. Okay, I stripped off all the fuzz and the tip. This hackle here, I measure it out. It's going to go back to about the back end of the fly, so I know I've got the right length. You want that hackle to be coming back to the butt end of that bend of the hook. Okay, now I'm just going to take my tie-in point here. I'm going to set it on the side. I'm going to take my hackle with somewhat loose, and then I'll pull it tight on that second turn. Then I'll go in front of that and push that tie-in point to the back. Clip that out. Now I'm going to clip my hackle stem so that it's not so long. I want to be able to control that better, and I like the shorter hackle stem. Now I'm going to use the Tie Flies hackle pliers. It's got the best grip on the hackle, and it's light, so it allows me better control. So I'm going to take and wrap this. I'm going to be kind of palmering this hackle rearward as I wrap it. But if you notice, I'm wrapping and making sure I don't catch any fibers. Okay, and I trimmed off all the fibers on the side of the stem that is going to be laying up against the hook shank, and that is so that my hackle fibers lay nice and clean and give me a nice clean wrap. So I'll use the stem of this hackle to actually help in palmering the hackle fibers rearward. So I got that secured in, 2 wraps. I'll pull that off. I'm going to pull everything rearward. I'll give a couple wraps. Now I'm going to take and trim out that hackle stem. Okay.